Hey guys, before we get into this video real quick, give me a quick second to have a slightly awkward conversation with you. I want to talk to you about something that's terrible. Sweaty palms and sweaty, smelly feet. It is the worst when you got to go meet someone and then you got to go and wipe your hands in your pants, or if you take your shoes off, God forbid, and woo, that smell hits everybody. That's embarrassing. That's why we're talking about Carpe right now. Carpe is the world's first antiperspirant lotion for your hands and your feet. Whether you're driving or just nervous, you don't want to have sweaty palms, so you just throw a little Carpe on. Boom! 30 seconds, rub them together, let them dry for a second or two, and you are good to go. More importantly, it won't chafe or dry your skin out because it's got moisturizer built into it. Carpe is the #1 doctor-recommended antiperspirant for sweaty hands and sweaty feet. I've been using this stuff for a little while, and it actually works really good. It doesn't dry my hands out, even though I'm out in the desert filming all the time. I'm going to hook you up. Use code CARPE10 for free shipping anywhere in the US and a special price for me and The Smoking Tire. Check it out. It's a life changer. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the top of Malibu on a blustery but beautiful morning here with the 2018, that's right, this is a bit of an aging vehicle, Lexus GS-F. You know, there are very few V8 rear-wheel drive sedans, naturally aspirated ones anyway, on the market. It's pretty much just the GSF and the Dodge Charger. That's really all that's there. The Dodge Charger has been covered extensively. It is what it is. This is a very good and interesting car, and it's a shame that not many people will buy them. I think this car will be highly collectible eventually. Basically, you have the standard GS rear-wheel drive sedan. It's a conservative but lovely vehicle. I drove the GSF Sport back in the day, which had some lovely chassis improvements, and oh my god, it was a sweetheart to drive, although it wasn't very fast with that standard V6. This one gets the V8. 5-liter, 90-degree, all-aluminum V8. It's got variable valve timing on the intake and the exhaust side. It has dual injection, has a direct injection and and port injection. It makes 467 horsepower, 389 pound-feet of torque, and that goes to the rear wheels through an 8-speed paddle-shifted Eisen gearbox, as well as an electronically controlled diff. So let's talk about the rest on the road, but we're going to put her in Sports Plus and then press our diff button, which programs the diff between normal, slalom is a good one, and track. Slalom doesn't literally mean you're doing a slalom. It's great for the canyons. So manual mode, and of course TC must be off. I lost the button, but I found it again. TC off. Okay, let's have a drive. This engine is a sweetheart of an engine. It is revvy, it's strong, it's torquey, it's happy, it feels like motorsport. Picture, if you haven't experienced one of these engines yet, think about the BMW E92 M3, the V8 one, and add power and torque. That's kind of what this feels like. Just as happy to rev, just as slick, but it has a great sort of bassy induction note that comes out now, yes. It's really got great power. The chassis is extremely balanced. It's not what we'd call a lightweight. It's 4,000 pounds, but it's 500 lighter than the Charger, the other V8 rear-wheel drive car. It's snappy, this thing. And what is happening? Hold please. That water bottle was driving me nuts. Sorry about that. Listen to that. 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds. I'm not exactly sure what the top speed is. I have to assume it's well over 150. Hello, not a cop. Turn in, super good. very sticky. My favorite thing about the car, aside from the engine, is that torque vectoring differential. It really helps this thing rotate. In the tighter sections, in the canyons, oh, whoa, hello, tree in the road. Like I said, windy. Good brakes too, Brembos. 6-piston fronts. That was a shift light. 7,300 RPM red line. Most cars with turbos are not getting over 7 these days, but this one does, and it sounds great. I love the throttle control, really precise, especially in sport mode. In the normal modes, as you can expect, it's a little lazy, and without turbos, keeping that engine out of the real power band. You drive enough turbo cars, they're all tuned for that instant torque, that 2,500 RPM torque shove now. And so to go back to an NA V8, it almost feels a little sluggish off the line. But when you're on it, man, is it happy. This road is a bit bumpy in the transitions, and I love the way this car can absorb bumps, but also really be predictable in the handling department. Brakes are very effective. Little bit of squeal from those tires up front. Come to think of it, I forget what brand the tires are. I'll have to take a look. The sound is absolutely addictive. That when you get on that pedal, it's really good. A truck, which is just as well, because this portion of the is a big dip here. If he doesn't want to pull over, that's okay. I'll talk to you about infotainment for a second. It's not great. It's old, it's clunky. The mouse, just like every other Lexus, the mouse is not very good. If you've been in a newer Porsche or a newer Audi, or a Tesla, it will feel remarkably outdated. But that's really not what we want to focus on here. The good news is Bluetooth works good, and you have knobs. So I throw it on the satellite radio, scroll through the channels with the knob. I realize that if you own the car, you may want something more out of the MMI system, but for a system that's not great, I've found a way to live with it and not hate myself. The seating position is excellent. These seats are the same seats that you get in the LC500. I'm going to flip around right here. The same seats you get in the LC500, and they are quite comfortable. I'm going to hop out and just look at what the tires are, because I forget, and I want to know. Maybe not at all surprised to learn that the tires are Super Sports. Yes, 255s in the front, 19 inches, and 275s in the rear, so a slight stagger. But yeah, that's where the grip and the progressive breakaway and that little hint of communication squeal, that's all trademark Super Sports stuff. Feels good. Check out this dip. This is a sketchy corner. Woo! That's where you can send it. And people have quite badly. Oh, I like that. Look, bumps at the mid corner. That's very good. I like that with the different drive modes, the suspension doesn't change. There's only one suspension setting. It's non-adaptive, but they found the right setting and just left it. I like that. Sometimes with the adaptive suspensions, soft is too soft and stiff is too stiff, and they try and be everything to everybody. Lexus has just found one good setting and put it there. What's so interesting is for a gearbox with 8 speeds, how long the legs are. I mean, second gear is good for almost 70 miles an hour, or 72 miles an hour maybe. Third gear is good for over 90. So, you got a lot of ratios to work with, and still, you can get all the way through the canyons in second or third gear. The top 3 ratios, I think, are all just overdrives for fuel economy. I don't know what the rated fuel economy is for this, but I can report that I've put 240 something miles on it of mostly city driving and some highway and a little canyon. and it's 1.5 tanks of gas. So I'm not bad, actually. Oh man, the linear response is so good. Brakes are great. Really good pedal feel. There's that diff working a bit. It's amazing how the character of the car can change with that diff. You put it in slalom mode, and it really helps you rotate the car on throttle. See? God, the engine is absolutely addictive. Shift light. The one thing I don't like is, you know, you really can't get that engine noise in the city at all because you're just going so fast to need it, because the long legs, you need high RPMs. That FRS is really not using that wing to the fullest extent. That car's making a lot of farting noises, and there's a lot of downforce happening, but it's not really translating it into pace, is it? That's awfully disappointing. All right, well. It's going to be bright in a second. I'm not really sure if this thing is an M3 or an M5 competitor. I can say that it's got more back seat room than an M3. It's 20 grand cheaper than the M5. That's, you know, this 84,000 base, it seems a little high, but M5s are really expensive, and even you can get a $100,000 M3 now, competition. If you need the back seat space, this is probably a better option than an M3. And if you want this kind of performance under 100 grand, it's probably better than an M5. I mean, those cars being such a, this is about to be really bright, such a gold standard, you know, I think that it's easy and appropriate to put this in the zone of the best sports sedan you can buy if you don't want an M3 or an M5. For this price point, C63s are smaller, M3s are smaller as well. Yeah, this is a true 4 or 5 passenger car, even if you're big and tall like myself. And also, it's really fast. Like, we hear about really big numbers on the internet these days, but I mean, this is fundamentally the same specs as like a Corvette engine, and it hustles, man. It hustles. Got great power, great just rev happiness too. Even more so, like a Corvette engine is not like a Rev-Happy engine. It's a workhorse, it gets the job done, but it doesn't seem eager to rev the way that this is. This is an eager engine in the way that typically in the past only the German V8s have been. You know, you think about your Audi RS4 engine or your BMW S65. This is where this Lexus engine lives, in that Rev-Happy state. Gearbox is great too, super responsive, really smooth shifts. I think in that regard it's actually better than the ZF gearbox. Fun to use the paddles. The kind of car you want to use the paddles, because you only get those good noises when you're revving it. You don't get them down low. So down low, it just smooth V8. Although it's kind of rowdy on a cold start. I do like that. Very nice, very nice. We'll go over here. I think the 0 to 60 could actually be quite a bit faster if it was geared a bit differently, but 0 to 60 is not what this car is for. This car is for the corners, it's for the canyons, could even be for the racetrack. I bet you this thing will be real fun on a racetrack. The balance is super good, turn-in is great, brakes are great, ride is great, rocks on the road. Dynamically, everything about the GSF is absolutely superb. the right size. I mean, for a true, 4 or 5 passenger sedan, no sacrifice up front to fit people in the back. But it doesn't feel like it has a bunch of extra bulk on it. It feels like it's svelte, shrunk around the necessary parts, if you will. Wow. There's schmutz all over the road. What a beautiful car this is. It looks good too. I think it's aggressive in all the right places and subtle in all the right places. I would buy one of these things for sure. Normally, when I drive Lexuses, I say stuff like the infotainment could keep me out of the car because the infotainment's kind of annoying. And although it's annoying here as well, I really have to say, the rest of this car is so good. I mean, it's so fun to drive, but with zero penalty in the city. It's comfortable, it's easy, it doesn't ask anything of you. The engine is just great. It's a great engine. I'm really gonna miss this engine when it's gone. So thank you to Lexus for letting me have a go. It's a really beautiful car. It really feels well made. It's comfortable. It's quiet when you want it to be. It's very fast when you want it to be. It's just super, super well-rounded, and it's rare to find a car that is so well-rounded and offers this level of appointment and space and speed at a high but not crazy price. So thank you to Lexus. Thank you for watching. I'll see you later.